Alright, to get started, I have an image open that I'd like to use as a background for my thumbnail, and in a separate tab, I have an image that I would like to add to my background. Okay, let's begin over in the Background tab. Go up to Image, and select Image Size. In the pop-up, you want to change the width to 1280, and the height to 720 to match YouTube standards. Then just hit OK. Now, if you have a second image like me, go back to that tab, and make sure you have the Move tool selected. Drag your image onto the tab with your background, then release it onto your background at your desired position. If you'd like to resize your image, first make sure your layer is selected, and then use the Ctrl-T keyboard shortcut to bring up these handles that'll let you resize it. Okay, now to add text to your background, select the Text tool. Then click where you want to type your text. Before you start typing, up here you can do things like change the font, change its color, and even center your text. I like how this looks, so I'll go ahead and type my text. If you have 2 lines of text, you may want to adjust the spacing between lines by first selecting your text, and then go over to the character panel and drag the 2 A's stacked on top of each other to the side. Finally, I'll just use the Move tool to reposition my text in the frame. Alright, next let's give the text a drop shadow by double-clicking your text layer to open up the Layer Styles box. In here, simply select Drop Shadow. If you want a more pronounced drop shadow, you can play around with the sliders, but I'll just stick with the default. To make your text stand out even more, you can adjust the background's brightness. Under your layers, click this little circle and select Brightness/Contrast. Drag your new brightness layer so that it's only above your background layer. You don't want it to affect anything else like your text. Click the little sun icon on your brightness layer to bring up its properties. Then drag the brightness slider to adjust the brightness, which will make your text more readable. Oftentimes, I like to play around with the contrast too to make my colors pop more despite having a darker image. Another popular effect you may want for your thumbnail is putting outlines around people or objects. You can do this by going up to Select, and then click Subject. It usually does a pretty good job, but it missed some of his clothes in my case. To fix this, I'll go over to my toolbar and hold down on the 4th tool, and then select the Quick Selection tool. Now you can drag over the parts of the subject Photoshop missed to add them to the selection. Sometimes the Quick Selection tool doesn't like to cooperate, so you may need to use the Lasso tool to touch up certain smaller areas. With the Lasso tool, you can hold down the Shift key while drawing to add to your selection, and hold down the Alt key to remove parts. Once you're satisfied with your selection, right-click inside of it, and click Select and Mask. Over in your newly opened panel, increase the smoothness of your selection so that when you add to your outline, it won't look jaggy and bad. Next, you'll need to right-click inside your selection again, and select Layer via Copy so our stroke doesn't affect our original background layer. Now double-click your new layer you just added to open up its layer styles. Select Stroke to give your object a stroke, and then change its color. I'll put mine to white since that sends out. Increase the stroke size to your desired thickness, and then adjust the position to outside. Finally, if you want to add a little more dazzle to your stroke, you can give it an outer glow from the side menu. Mine's already set up to look pretty good, so if you want to use my same glow, just pause the video and use my settings. Alright, I think this looks good now. You can kind of get an idea of how it'll look in a thumbnail by holding down the Alt key and scrolling with your mouse to zoom in and out. And that's all from me. Thanks for watching and see you next time.